how do we authentically differentiate our service offerings? In other words, how do we help our clients choose us versus somebody else, versus another peer, another colleague in your field? There are two sources of differentiation. The first one is the empathy that you put into customizing offers and creating offers that work for the specific clients that you want to help. Remember, an offer is basically the answer to a specific problem at a specific time for a specific person. So the more you are precise, the more you dig into what that problem, that situation, and that is, and that client wants, the more you're going to increase your level of understanding, and the more you're going to be able to build and construct something that is specifically designed for them. So that requires for you to focus on a specific part, a specific audience, right? If you say that you help all companies or the public in general, it will be harder unless the theme is really so broad that really actually everybody is interested in what you have to offer. So the first one is using your honest empathy, authentic empathy, to really understand what is it that your clients are willing to pay and what is it that they want. What is it that they want? The second source of differentiation is your perspective, is your own choice about your own set of choices about how to do the work. You may provide exactly the same outcome as one of your colleagues from another firm, but you may suggest that the way you approach this work is radically different from this other business, this other company. Creating a strong perspective and disagreeing with your peers is a really powerful way to help people choose you versus them. It's really about what kind of process, what kind of journey are you going to experience with me or with us? What do we put first? Do we recommend that we always do a strategy phase or session at the forefront of every engagement? And here are the reasons why, because there are some non-negotiables. There are things that we believe to be very, very important, very true, that we don't want to skip. Or, for instance, are you willing to bypass this and move into implementation work? That might be one of the aspects of your perspective. I take the example of Volvo, car manufacturer. It's not a professional services firm, but Volvo approached the car market, the producing cars in the 50s, with a radically different perspective than everybody else, right? They were catering to the same drivers, the same families as everyone else, but they had a radically different perspective, which was, we believe that all cars should be safe to drive. And right now in the 50s, it's not really the case. There are too many dead people, too many deaths on the road. And we believe that cars should be as safe as possible. That was their strong perspective. And that's how they differentiated in their market over the years. And that's how still to this day, we remember them. We know Volvos to be very, very safe cars. Maybe now the other manufacturers are just as safe as Volvo, but that still was such a clear, differentiated choice. They disagreed with their competitors at the time on their market, that helped them differentiate in their market. So for you, how does this translate? Do you agree with the way other consultants, coaches, engineers, designers operate in your market? Is it all fine for you? Are there areas where you would rather see B versus A? Do you recommend to do this work with a different set of values? Do you recommend a different time frame? I mean, the criteria could be really unlimited, but what is it that makes your perspective so unique? Differentiation comes from your expertise, from your thinking, right? And to do that, you need to let people know what your perspective is about so that they can choose you and differentiate in your service offerings. So if you're putting service offerings that just look like everybody else without a perspective on why they are such and such, then you're not doing a good job at differentiating, and vice versa. If you're really taking the time, if you're putting the energy to describe how you would approach this work differently, what you believe that is true, what you believe that is wrong, what are the pitfalls, what are the traps not to fall into, and what are the exciting things that, and the secrets maybe, are the overlooked aspect of your work that nobody really cared about. These are the ways to differentiate your business. I want to finish this video by giving you my own example. I was I positioned MetaHelm several years ago as doing strategic storytelling, and I was in the process of exploring what my own perspective was on strategic storytelling. Many people do storytelling, like it's a very, very crowded market space. And I realized one night as I was writing emails to my email list that I caught myself using in a sentence the word story and narrative interchangeably, synonym. We all do that, right? We say, oh, the story about this, or this narrative is interesting. And, we understand those two words as the same meaning. And it's true, in a dictionary, they have the same meaning. But I went a little beyond. I challenged my assumptions. Which is another thing you should do when you explore your perspective to differentiate. Challenge your assumptions. Challenge what everybody else believes is true. I challenged my assumptions and realized that narratives are much bigger than stories. They have a different function, different power. They integrate, they connect with stories in the way that narratives are systems of stories, but they have a different meaning. Narratives are systems of stories. They're open-ended. People will pay for a story and they will almost die for a narrative. Narratives are emotional. Stories are too, but narratives are such that people start doing crazy things. And narrative guides our decisions. Narrative, we don't pay attention to them, but we don't realize why we do X, Y, Z, why we get into our car and fasten our seatbelt. It was because somebody or a group of people built a narrative around a certain practice. So I decided that one of the key elements of my perspective was going to be to make a difference between story and narrative. And I felt really, really strong that there was a very important, very subtle and very powerful, very, very extremely powerful difference that would be useful in the field and for the people that I was serving. So I hope this helps with your examples. Again, as a summary here for this video, one is use authentic empathy. Try to understand as much as you can about the people you serve. What is it that they really want? What would be most impactful to them? And second, serve them with a perspective that almost nobody else has. That is really, really your own. I hope this helps. Thank you.